like to call to order the Avalon City Council meeting of Tuesday, December 16th, and we will also include a meeting of the City Council acting as a successor agency to the ACIA and the Housing Authority. If we'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could please have a moment of silence for Gabino Gonzalez, who passed away in the last couple of weeks. Please be seated. And when you're ready, may we have the roll call?
Mayor Marshall?
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle?
Here.
Councilmember Ponce?
Here.
Councilmember Schickling?
Here.
And Councilmember De La Rosa is absent today.
You said it in reverse order. It caught me by surprise. Are there any announcements or written communications? None? Okay, department head reports.
Matt's coming out.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
She broke it.
I usually go first.
Oh, yeah, we should have Chief go first since he was already set up.
Chief, you want to go? Yeah.
No,
please.
too late. We already unplugged you.
I have it in the presentation.
Don't have that anymore. That council prep, I need it in an email, sorry.
Oh, let's go back to Chief.
If you can just send it to me in an email, and then I'll set it up.
Yep. Yeah, we'll let Chief go first, and you got it switched.
Good afternoon, good evening, Mayor, Council, City Staff. Michael Alegria, Fire Chief. November, 82 total calls, 35 medical, 45 fire-related. Our next call, we are 4 away from 1,100 on the year, which should be a record year, and we've gotten rid of a lot of fire alarms. I got a call about a half hour ago. They're cleaning up the engine, and I can go pick it up Thursday or Friday.
Excellent.
Our new hires have started. They're doing good. The other day, I got an email. We were awarded another $15,000 in grant money for some wildland PPE, personal protective equipment, by the California Fire Foundation. And then next, I will show, we've talked about the app, Cortico app. Tomorrow, I'm gonna meet with, my guys have been on it for about a month. Meet tomorrow with city staff, and then I'll forward you guys the email as well. But this is through Lexipool. It's a wellness app, so if you have questions or concerns or you need to talk to somebody, and I've got one staff member at City Hall and 2 firefighters are gonna be do the peer support training. It's 35 hours online. Can't fast forward it. It's very, very difficult. So
Yeah.
I'll have 2 peer support. The Menudo brothers were our old peer support. I got 2 new ones taking the class. This is just something extra that we're gonna have as the city to be able for some mental health and stuff. And I'll show you.
We're having technical difficulties. This isn't a good sign.
I was to say, it worked in rehearsals.
Worked at 3.
No?
The TV's on? That's all right.
Okay.
To be continued.
Excellent.
There's a Michael Daly in the audience.
But tomorrow I'll send you an email. You scan it with the QR code. You enter in COA-CA and the password. And the good thing is they track how many hours and stuff or how many times people get on it. But for a fire department, we all have the same login, so they don't know who's logging in. For city staff, it's all the same login. So all they know is they report to me is how many people have used it. And there's great tools on there. An ADHD test that Devin said I've taken like 5 times but haven't finished it yet. No. There's all kinds of great assessment tools, and then with your score, it tells you what to do, how to follow up. And
Is it all mental health related?
Yep.
Okay.
If you need to call someone, you want to talk to someone, you could call, you could text, you could call anonymously, you could call with your phone number, but I'll show you next council meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Evening, Mayor, City Council, City Staff. Since our last meeting, we've had 489 observations made by the deputies, 120 calls for service from the public, for a total of 609. There were 10 traffic stops and 13 pedestrian stops. There were 7 citations written for traffic and 2 for pedestrian. During that time, we had 10 arrests made. 1 was for DUI, 1 was for a battery, 2 were for misdemeanor domestic violence, 1 was for drunken public, 1 was for battery on a peace officer, 2 were for trespassing, 1 for criminal threats, and 1 for resisting an officer. So Saturday we have planned for the Maverick toy giveaway with Santa. We have a lot of toys this year. Last weekend we worked out of Pico Rivera at the Supercenter Walmart there, and we just got tons of toys. So I brought over about a truckload full myself, so there should be a lot of toys on Saturday. We have extra staffing for New Year's planned, and I think we're all good. We had a really wonderful year, and it's busy, and I'm really happy with the results.
I have a question. So all of those arrests and whatevers, so do all of those get shipped over to the mainland and then the DA decides what happens to them, or what happens?
No, it just depends on the type of arrest. If it's most misdemeanor arrests, they are sent to the station, they're live scanned and processed through booking, and if there's no holds, then they're usually released, unless they have certain criteria, like if it's a domestic violence, those are not released unless they bail out on their own. And most charges can bail out. There's very few charges where you can't actually pay bail. So almost all of them, you can get a bail bondsman to post your bail, and you get to walk away.
And how do people get bail here?
Usually we call one of the areas like in Carson or Lakewood. There's bail bondsmen close to those stations, and they will arrange. So the best thing to do, if anyone's listening, is make an arrangement for them to go to Carson Station. Like they will send us the information, but there's bail bondsmen right by Carson, so it works well with us. We know them well, and when we have a in custody here at Avalon, they almost always go right to Carson Station, with few exceptions.
So, but they need bail to get out of jail. So they have a family member or something go get the bail?
Yeah, you can, it's almost never, but you can pay cash for bail. I mean, it's usually fairly high. I haven't seen it here yet. Most of the time you get a bondsman to give you a bond, and basically you just give some kind of collateral, and then they give you a bond until you go to court the next time.
Okay. And another question, when you're off island during the day, who's the next in charge?
Right now it's Sergeant Durante. Actually, I'll be leaving this weekend to Texas, and he'll be in charge when I'm gone. So he'll be here Thursday through Monday while I'm out of town.
Okay, any questions? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, you know I need to restart something in here to.
Kevin? He still has to do something for this, so, yeah. Sure. Yep.
Ignore the gentleman on his knees.
That's why I wore the
It's like the big, the Oz.
Oh, yeah.
You good? Find out. Okay. While he's doing that, good evening, Mayor, members of the council, city staff. Kevin Schmidt, Harbor Master. So I guess it depends on your opinion, but since the last time we met, the weather's been pretty good. Knock on wood, pretty sunny out here, a little bit of fog. That's going to hold up probably until Christmas Eve. Looks like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. There's a chance of rain, so we might get a little rain for the holiday. Harbor maintenance and the patrol officers have been busy doing some maintenance, getting caught up on some things. Harbor maintenance has been out the mole. You may have seen them out there. They've been doing some concrete work out there, patching the concrete, filling in some of the small end concrete, doing a great job. They'll be out there probably again tomorrow finishing that up. Patrol officers have been splicing lines, doing maintenance on the patrol boats. Up in the office, we're still busy working on some big projects. The South Beach restoration project, that's ongoing, trying to get that through permitting and that process. The Club Dinghy Dock replacement project as well. We have the grant for that, but we're having to meet all the requirements of the grant and get into sign off so we can get that out for procurement. And then now, I'm sure you probably heard, we have the pier deck replacement project, which is we're just getting ramped up on that one. So we got some big ones going out there on those infrastructure projects as well. And last, but certainly not least, I'm happy to report that the clock faces are in the house. Okay, so the new clock faces are here. They're under 24-hour guard. We can laugh about it, but I'm glad when they're done up there. So yeah, Harbor Maintenance is going to prep those and get them ready to go up on top of the harbor roof, hopefully very soon. So that's what's going on in the harbor. Stats-wise, for the month of November, 574 arrivals for a total mooring nights of 3,584, which if I did my math correctly is about a 3% increase over last November. We'll take it. In terms of calls, we had a couple of 3 Baywatch assists, a site written, 1 emergency medical, 3 emergencies, 13 enforcements, and let's go with 46 public assists. Any questions? Okay.
Yep.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members, and City staff. Jackie Cordero, Public Works Director. So the last couple weeks have truly just been annual tree maintenance that Public Works has been doing. I have a presentation here to kind of show what we've been doing the last couple weeks. Really, why is I'm gonna go over why, the process, the scope of work of the annual tree maintenance, the equipment and personnel that came out, and the logistics. Next slide. Matt, it's on. Oh, it's different. So the why. A lot of the trees that we identified are to maintain public safety. So the limbs were weak, or a lot of trips and falls, things like that. And to protect the infrastructure, especially in the cemetery, to protect all the headstones and plots that we have there, and reduce liability. For example, the 2 trees that we took out here, really close to a sidewalk, parking areas. In fact, one of them was really precarious, and we had to take down because it hit somebody, right? So these are all reasons of why. prepare for winter storms, especially on the Front Street. This season, we started in December, which is very late for us. As I mentioned last meeting, we like to start in October before the storms hit because all those palm fronds tend to fall during high winds, and that creates safety hazards. And then if we continue doing proper annual trimming, that improves the health of the tree. So the process was a little bit different this year, as I mentioned before, was that normally we would collaborate with Island Company, but this year we had to go through a whole bid process ourselves. So we had 2 companies come out and assess the trees, give us recommendations, and they're arborists. So we had them give us their assessment for the tree health, liability, and safety. And then one of the things was challenging again this year is because we didn't have the coordination with Island Company, so all the freight costs and everything was on the city. So that meant we had to have a standalone contract, longer process, and the 2 weeks of constant work. So before in the past, we were Island Company and the tree West Coast arborist that was here. They were here for a couple months, so we can pick and choose the days. So for example, if it was Front Street and we had to do tree trimming, of course we wouldn't do it on a cruise ship day. But this time, we had to because we only had them for 2 weeks. All our work was compressed into that timeline. So we didn't have that luxury of flexibility like we did in the past. So that was one challenge. All the equipment and containers, if you all noticed, was more on the city streets this year than in past, again, because we didn't have that collaboration with Island Company, and they own quite a bit of the land where you can put some of that stuff, so it all had to be on city streets. So that was very impactful to the residents and tourists, and again, all compressed in that timeline. Next slide, please. So the scope of work, we had a full crew of 6 with heavy equipment, including 40-yard containers. Public Works also assisted with those 2 weeks, so that's why I'm giving this presentation. We really didn't do anything else but that unless it was an emergency. The cemetery removal of 6 trees, the pruning of the perimeter trees, and citywide we also removed 4 trees, pruned 317, and did crown reduction for 97. That's a lot of work for 2 weeks. And again, this is just the annual maintenance of process that we've been doing for some time. And then any trees that were removed within the city were, again, for safety or due for future improvements like we're doing at the cemetery. Next slide, please. And more specifically on the cemetery, and this is something I collaborated with the cemetery manager with, we had trees that had failing limbs, exposed roots. One tree was waterlogged. They thought, but it was confirmed. As you can see there's a big gash in that tree in the middle. In fact, it was a matter of time before it split into 2 with more heavy rains, winds, etc. And then we had trees that were raising markers and obstructing other plots. So we also had a question on, well, why not just remove the roots? That can solve the problem, right? But that's not a long-term solution because the roots continue to grow and they continue to find their way. And then how we did that process, which is pretty standard measures and protocol, like other Overtown cemeteries, you do plywood so you don't go over the markers. That is standard procedure. We removed all the memorabilia. We did not dig up any markers or plots unless it was absolutely necessary, and we put them safely. And the city or cemetery manager let the family know if that was happening. And right now, currently, in this week and next week, the crew is continuing to clean up and dig up any roots. So our goal is to have a level surface, aerate the grass, have new grass, and with all that sunlight now that is pouring into the cemetery, that grass will continue to grow and not be boggy And this is, again, part of that annual tree maintenance that we did. We removed some trees last year. In fact, one of the pictures on there was a palm tree that was encroaching into one of the niches. So future work, as I mentioned, we're aerating the soil, reseeding the turf, and removing as many trip and falls as we can, and leveling out those markers. Next slide. And here are some pictures that you can see where that is really being impactful to those headstones and the trips and falls. Next slide. And then here is a schematic of the cemetery and all the different burial plots there. There's really, and the reason I included this is because you can truly see there is no room. It's all stacked pretty closely together. So in order to keep the integrity of those plots, you have to do something. And next slide. And one of the things, I don't know if I mentioned, but the cemetery manager did communicate and had been communicating with some of the families, especially of those trees that were impacting some of those plots. She was fielding some of those calls for years because they were asking, what are we going to do about them, right? But looking ahead for 2026, we're hoping to have the annual tree maintenance a lot earlier because in December it is very difficult, especially with juggling the holiday season. So our goal is to have that in October and November. Again, it will probably be a 2-week period. And then posting more communication out there of what we're going to be doing, I think is really key. It was more of a learning curve this year because, again, we didn't have that flexibility to be able to say, oh, sure, go to Front Street this year. This day, go over here. It was just so compressed in time. So the crew was working faster than what we could keep up with them. So that was, so it was just a more logistical planning on our end. And then hopefully maybe Island Company would want to coordinate with us next year. If they use the same company, we'll have to go through the same bid process again. But instead of starting a little later and anticipating that maybe Island Company would use the same so we can piggyback, we'll start the process earlier as soon as the fiscal year starts. I just wanted to give an overview of what that has been for the last couple weeks. So if you have any questions, happy to.
No? Questions?
Are you gonna, is there any plans to replant any trees?
No. As I mentioned, there's no room in the schematic. You saw that there was just so heavily already, all of the area has been used. We are keeping the perimeter trees, but in the middle, I would have to talk to the cemetery manager, but I don't really think there's room because all of those roots and, will intrude.
Well, so where you dug out the trees, is there a possibility of, some large planted trees? I mean, in a pot, I mean?
They're people's plots that they were growing in.
Correct.
The trees were literally on other people's plots.
So if you put a tree there, we're on somebody's plot.
They can't been used to actually bury their loved ones.
So they buried, oh.
That's part of what this came up from.
So they sold a plot that was underneath the tree?
They were plots already, and they hadn't had to use them yet. But now, from my understanding, somebody needs to make use of one of them now because a family member has passed away, and the tree was literally growing into the plot.
Correct.
How did the tree get there? I mean,
Somebody planted it there that probably didn't necessarily
30 years
have
ago or
permission
something, they
to
were
do that.
planted, yeah, or longer.
Correct.
And if you go to the cemeteries over town, I mean, it is a maintenance hassle, number one, to try to go around a tree. The roots, as you can see, I think they've done the good thing. And if there's a funeral or anything, we always put those
Canopies.
up so they're in the shade. And
Right.
so,
Matt, can you go to the first slide, please? I'll show an example of, I think that picture really. So this one, for example, there's sometimes rogue trees they grow as seedlings. So this one, for example, is completely encroaching into a marker, this whole statue, and it broke it.
Okay, cool, just curious. I mean, you know, I
Nice
know.
to have them, but it just doesn't.
Sure, yeah. So I was just asking, you know, a lot of people were wondering that. So I'm just asking for the public and, you know, the huge uproar and all that stuff.
All it would have taken, which is sad, all it would have taken is somebody to call City Hall and ask them what they were doing.
Sure.
And getting the story instead of creating their own story and everybody feeding on that.
Well, yeah, but that's, you know, 2025, that's our world that we live in now.
And that's a damn
It's highly
shame.
unfortunate.
It's
But,
a shame.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, all right, well, thanks for the explanation.
Yeah, good question. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Oh, I do have a question, because all the tree trimming is done until next year?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, so there's a palm tree that's on city property right there by the golf course. It's also in the sidewalk, and I don't think that got pruned. So if you can put that on the list for next year, that would be great. The golfers would definitely appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. As you can see, Christmas is up and running all through town. I want to be able to give a big shout out to the Public Works crew. Even though we get the decorations and we get a chance to kind of put this town together, we cannot do it without the Public Works crew. They work so hard. They make our job so much easier. They do literally the heavy lifting, and we get to shine everything up, and we get all the praise for it, and the praise really should go to the Public Works. So I just want to make sure they get that shout out. We did have a sinkhole up on Joe Machado Field. It was probably about 3 feet by 4 feet. A sinkhole, we were really worried that it might be something deep, maybe a pipe might have broke, and so we reached out to Turfus, who come and do our annual deep cleaning on the field. They responded right away. They came right over, opened it up. There was a sinkhole, but it was not complete and deep. It was only about a foot deep. We were able to fill it back in with more drainage rock, compact it, and it's ready for play. And they were able to do the work in 2 hours. So phenomenal partnership we have with Turfus, who does our annual cleaning. We held our first annual Community Friendsgiving on November 20th. The event fed 215 people, and with the extra food, we were able to feed the rest of our house community and put it on the Hungry app and distribute it within a half hour. Wow. So there was no food to be wasted. So we were really happy about that. We would like to thank Jeff Skelton and Catalina Ranch for hosting the event at the ranch and providing the entertainment of Victoria Bailey. We want to thank Santiago Brian Swick from Avalon Smokehouse for cooking all the turkeys. That was so delicious. We want to thank Rotary for volunteering to serve. Ken from CR&R for prep cooking. Big shout out to my amazing staff of Marissa Moronis, Constance Rux, and Monique Poole for all their behind the scene work, from decorating to cooking the food. And all of this was made possible due to donations from Best and Krieger, Avalon's Lion Club, Avalon's Rotary Club, Cat Beverage, CR&R, and Avalon Freight. As you can see, for that event to happen, it took a lot of the community to be there, so we were really happy and proud of that event. The next day, we had our annual food box on November 21st, and we handed out a total of 70 turkey dinners, with half of them that were donated by the LA County Sheriff's Youth Department, thanks to Matt King and his partnership with them. We love that. We might be doing that some more next year, because we were able to make that happen here, so they enjoyed that. The other half was donated again by BBK, Rotary, Love Catalina, and Lions Club. We also gave 35 Vons gift cards away, donated by Vons. Altogether, at the food box, we were able to feed over 300 people with that event. Something I've been dreaming of since taking over leadership 3 years ago was building a tech center for our youth to move into the future. a place they can go to learn computer programming, digital media, AI, and hopefully in the future, robotics. When KISL officially closed, I found an opportunity to build out a space. Thanks to Curtin Maritime, Yacht Club Auxiliary, the Finney Family Foundation, a private donor, it gave a financial start to make this a reality. Then on December 2nd, the Catalina Island Foundation decided this is an important program to help our youth and matched the $20,000 raised to bring us to a total of $40,000 to start this tech center. With the connections made with the Y Academy, which is part of the YMCA, it's their tech center for the YMCA, we will be able to buy the equipment at an incredibly reduced cost and bring programming from the Y Academy to here, as well as a company called PVNet, which is another robotics company. They do mind mapping, they do all these crazy things with AI. They're out of Palos Verdes, and we're going to be working with them and bringing their programming here as well. And especially because of tech, we can bring them through the magic of our TVs and through Zooming. Instead of having to bring the instructors here, we can just open up and have the instructors come into the tech center. So we're really excited about this. We'll be putting the idea together in the next few months and looking to start a basic program by summer. Tree lighting ceremony went well on December 6th. We had performances by the Avalon Community Theater Group, Catalina Kids Venture, and Play Preschool teamed up for the first time to give a choral of Christmas songs to create the atmosphere. Dance Tech, local children's dance group, excited the crowd with a lively and adorable performances. They were followed by the Jingle Singers, who sang Santa onto Front Street. Santa arrived on our own fire truck and pulled a child out of the crowd to flip the switch for the city Christmas tree. While the lighting of the tree, snow came down on the stage and also onto Front Street, thanks to the snow machines donated by our very own Engineer Solution Group. Santa then took pictures with locals and visitors alike, and we're looking forward to adding more to the festivities next year. The Salvation Army is starting to create a presence in Avalon with their first toy drive event. They worked with the school to get 51 families toys that match their kids' age, which they'll be handing out tomorrow at school at 7:50 a.m. And they will be giving backpacks out to the high school kids. Our department worked with them on the logistics to help them get their 4 pallets of toys to the island and up to the school. The Salvation Army of Long Beach has now added us to their community, and we'll be working with them to help our local community. Next, we are working with bringing shoes and coats for our kids and working with them on resources for our unhoused community, including getting them housing over town. We are excited to be working with the Salvation Army and their extensive resources so they can bring it and elevate our community. Maverick Toy Drive. Santa is flying into Avalon on a Maverick helicopter on December 20th. Santa will be bringing gifts to our youth and be handing them out to the helicopter pad, with the rest of the toys being passed out at our annual Christmas food box giveaway. At the annual Christmas food box giveaway, which will be given out on December 22nd, where we'll give out 38 Christmas hams and Vaughn's gift cards to those in most of need. With the dinner, they will be able to pick out a toy for their young ones. We would again like to thank BBK, Rotary, Lions Club, Catalina Beverage, and Love Catalina for their donations to this cause. Is there any questions?
No.
Good job.
I know.
Good evening, Council. Matt Baker, Finance Director. Just wanted to report that business licenses are in the mail. We had a couple changes this year with business licenses that I wanted to bring to the public's attention. For food service establishments, along with your business license invoice, you will be receiving a self-certification form which has some questions about your on-site equipment and fog-related, fats, oil, and grease-related questions. This is finance partnering with code enforcement and Jocelyn and Solid Waste to try to get some more information on our restaurant food establishments in the community. Similarly, for short-term rentals, we will be sending out a request to update 24/7 contact information. We are working to roll out the hotline, and kind of the last step in that process is to make sure we have updated 24/7 contact information for all of the short-term vacation rentals. Generally, we require that information when you apply for the CUP and when you apply for the business license. But as you're aware, some of these vacation rentals have been operating for 30, 40 plus years, and we want to make sure the information we have is up to date. So with those vacation rentals, you will also see a form requesting updated information for 24/7 contacts. For both the food establishments as well as the short-term vacation rentals, the annual renewal process won't be considered complete until we have both the payment as well as completion of the form in the packet. We'll have copies of those forms as well within finance and posted on the city website. Other than that, switching over to revenues, October TOT was up 1.3%, with hotels up 3.8%. Vacation rentals are down slightly, but I'm hoping we get some late payments trickle in to help that number. This is the first month since May where TOT exceeded the prior year. Again, I think that a lot of this has to do with when there's closures of large hotels, it's hard to make up the difference in the peak season, but we've seen occupancy rates higher across the board with hotels. And so now that we're in some of the slower seasons, that lost revenue from the hotel isn't felt quite as dramatically. For cross-channel wharfage in October, revenues were up 35.6%. That's because we did have a fare increase that went into effect on September 2nd. If you adjust it for passenger count, our passenger count in October was up 2.6%. Across the board, revenues were up in October, so it seemed like it was a pretty good month. And then I will have a full report out to council and publish on the website by the end of this week. Unless there's any questions?
No, thank you.
Sneak around your mat. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kelly Rebuffo, Contract Planner. Tomorrow night, which is December 17th at 5 p.m., will be the regular meeting of the Planning Commission. It'll be our last meeting for 2025. There are 6 items on the agenda tomorrow night. 4 of them are transient rental license applications. 2 of them are in the Flats. 1 is in Hamilton Cove, and 1 of them's kind of in the Hills, west area of town. 1 of those applications, as a heads up, one of the ones in the Flats is requesting a continuance to the January meeting to give them a little more time to work on their application. We also have 2 continued public hearings from the November meeting. One of them is the 2026 annual growth policy that is going before Planning Commission for recommendation to council, and also a conditional use permit variance, site plan, and coastal development permit application for demo of a single-family home and construction of a new 2-story hotel at 305 Beacon Street. As far as going into 2026, at the January City Council meeting, we are anticipating that you will be reviewing the annual growth policy with Planning Commission's recommendations. In February, I will be bringing forward to you the Housing Element Annual Report. So that is our mandatory report to the Housing and Community Development State Department to kind of show how we are meeting all of our housing element implementation program guidelines. And then I would say quarter 1, quarter 2, council will be seeing the next round of housing related updates for our zoning code, including implementation of supportive housing, requirements, another round of updates to our ADU guidelines because those got updated again after our last code amendment. And then also I'm hoping to bring forward some updates to the city's parking standards as well, based on the guidance that we were given from council. Other than that, if I have any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It seems as though there was a time that we did not want to encourage curb cuts because there wasn't enough parking on the streets as it is. Was that, I don't know when that discussion ever was, but I understand we're now doing 3 or 4 different curb cuts in town on the flats, I believe. And I was surprised to hear that we were doing curb cuts because I thought that was something that we really didn't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, we have changed the policy on how the curb cut is. For example, instead of impacting the sidewalk, if it's just a sidewalk, we're not creating a apron on those homes that request it. They have to essentially chamfer the 6 inches of the curb, which allows them to go up without impacting the sidewalk. So we don't want to create that situation where you're walking down the sidewalk and you're stepping through these lower areas and upper areas. So we've changed that. The reality of the curb cut is, right, you make the curb cut, you can get a vehicle off the street, but then you take away a space because now you have the curb cut there. But what we found is a lot of these requests that come in are for individuals that are going to be gone for a period of time, so they have to have a place for their vehicle off the street, or it sits there for weeks if they're gone. So that it does solve that problem in the sense that we don't have a vehicle sitting there on the street, but it does not save parking spaces.
And if you park where there's so let's say I'm going to be gone for a month and I had a curb cut in front of my house, which I don't have, and then somebody parks at that curb cut, they'll get a ticket.
Well, I mean, we've really only been addressing those if they impact somebody. For the most part, what we found is the residents communicate with each other, and if they're going to be gone for a month, they let their neighbors know, and they do. We do see them parking there. I mean, we're just not randomly citing them unless somebody is simply unable to get out of their driveway.
Okay.
Their space.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, one of the parking standard requirements I mentioned is we had received direction at a previous council meeting to maybe implement some additional guidelines related to the placement of parking or curb cuts to maybe prioritize, not having it be on main roads. That's something that we're looking at. And the other part of that is also updating our parking space standards for autoettes, since that has not been updated since the new larger autoette definition was adopted by the DMV. So we need to make sure we bring that up to standard as well, so we don't have bumpers hanging out into sidewalks.
We've got so many exciting things going to happen in 2026. We can't wait to see you.
Yeah. I guess the other thing I would note is, on the subject of transient rental licenses, I think we are still doing 4 or 5 of those every meeting, and I think we are on track. As Dave had previously reported to you, it'll probably be around February, March will be when we hit the cap for that program. Thank you.
Bob, you're going to talk today?
You talked him into it. See, he wasn't going to. There you go.
Well, you can see on Five Corners, Bob Greenlaw talk about a few things about capital projects. Five Corners, we did get some paving down this last week, and the road opened back up on Tremont. We're working on, today we poured the concrete sidewalk by Clemente. We're now going to be focusing toward the intersection on the concrete. So on the north side, you're going to start seeing that side of the roundabout starting to be created while we're waiting for the water and gas utilities to clear the area for a storm drain. That's what's happening out in the middle of the intersection with all the plates there now, is that we're trenching very deep and wide there so that we can get the offsets for the water mains to go below the storm drain pipe, okay? And all that's being done, and also putting that new pressure relief valve that's over by the park now, a key facility for SCE to have that renewed. So we're doing that, and of course we've got the mole, we're trying to get that RFP out for the Phase 0 projects. Phase 0 infill project should start in the January realm, be finished by April. You heard Harbor Master talk about potential green pier decking project. We're working on that. We're also working on the electrical to move the electric panel from the end of the pier to the foot of the pier, which, we came to council and asked for the location of that. And so right now we're designing where the modifications to the building would be. And then let's see, also working a little bit on the elbow project, getting the sewer, ramping up, getting ready to pave throughout town. So a lot of things happening. And then we got the RFP out for the 2 phases of the Civic Center housing. So that was to get prices on the modular build, the cost to get actually the build, because we're at that point in it, and for the site work, so that we can put all those numbers together and be able to come to council and say, here's what we think this total project will cost. And, then get a decision of whether we move forward. A lot of other things happening too, but that's a little snapshot.
Thank
Any
you
questions?
so much. No, thank you.
I just want to give a shout out to the notification system, because I sign up for, all the notifications. If you haven't done that, if you're listening out there, if you haven't done that, I highly recommend that you get on the city website and sign up for the notifications, because with all of the street closures and all that stuff that's happening because of these projects, it's very handy to get those notifications. It's like, instead of just going up to the street and going, dang,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's working very, very well.
Okay, City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. And speaking of the notification system, quick, while we're talking about it, you probably got one this afternoon. Those of you that are on it, Chimes Tower Road, is going to be impacted over the next 2 days with a project going up there at Chimes Tower. It's not the city project, but just want to bring it to everyone's attention. So there will be periods of time, there will be construction going on up there at Chimes Tower, which will close the roadway completely for up to an hour at a time. When that happens, they'll be directing traffic down the other way, or you can, if it's close to being back open, you can wait. So that just went out this afternoon, and we'll continue to post that. I think we also put that on our Facebook page. So as council is aware, all the city leases expire the end of this month. We've been working, having a number of meetings and communications with all our leaseholders, and really, just trying to reassure them. We're looking to renew your lease. Nobody's being displaced, but where we're at now with the projects that Bob mentioned, we know we have the mole construction project coming up, and we know that those leaseholders that are out there, we're going to be moving them into temporary facilities. So we're going to continue on a month-to-month with those folks of where they're currently at. And then, as you've heard several times tonight, we are very fortunate to have received $1 million due to Senator Lena Gonzalez going to bat for us, and got that. Not only got it in the general budget for the state, but it survived. We were kind of waiting on pins and needles to see if that survived the final cut, and last week we got a call from the state of how to program that money and get us that money. So we are in a position where, in a perfect world, if everything falls into place, we might be able to get that project started this winter and completed before Memorial Day. If that's a possibility, we're going to try to give it a shot. So that's why you have a couple things on your agenda tonight. One, we're asking council to accept they're treating it as a grant, to accept the grant of $1 million, and number two, that we go out for an RFP on that decking to see if we can get it done. If we're able to go forward, then our lease partners on the pier, we're going to go month to month with them while that project's impacting their businesses. So again, I think we've met with most of our leaseholders, and if not, we've communicated in one form or another. We're looking to continue with you, and they've been very cooperative and understanding. Again, I can't thank Senator Lena Gonzalez enough for what she did when she was out here in early summer. You know, that was one of the areas at that time we were doing the piling project, and we took her out there to see that. And as she was walking out there on the pier, she started asking about the decking, and you know, and we said, well, we priced it out. That's about $1 million to do that, and she went and got it for us. So thank you so much. And it's what's going to drive that project, we think, is the availability of the material. If we're able to get that material, then it could really happen sooner rather than later.
Would it be wood, or would it be that other stuff
It's
that
wood.
people are using?
No,
Okay.
no, it's going to be wood. It's going to be similar size,
Yeah.
nature to
Yeah.
what's currently out there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I want to mention, you know, we talked about it. Public Works has remodeled and upgraded the bathrooms at the fuel dock. This was part of a concerted effort for us to, you know, the next step is we're going to put an outdoor shower on the outside of the fuel dock to serve the dive community out there. So with the new redone restrooms, with the outdoor shower, just want to announce, we've already told the Island Company and notified the dive community that those porta potties are going to be removed as of January 31st. We know they get use, but they're in really difficult shape at best, and that's why we wanted to put some money into those bathrooms and get it ready for the dive community. So those are going to go away at the end of next month. Just want to bring that to everybody's attention. Circuit will be running until 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve. Just an FYI for those folks that might be attending the Love Catalina's New Year's Eve party or any other New Year's Eve party. 1 a.m. Circuit will be running. And then at our holiday party, the city's holiday party last Friday, the mayor had addressed some department milestones, you know, just what we've accomplished in 2025. And briefly, I just want to take a couple minutes and address some of those because, you know, we all realize how much all these departments are doing, but when you go back and look, and these are really just the highlights, for example, Public Works, this year, Lovers Cove platform, Sombrero Fountain, Kids Park Playground install, Green Pier restrooms, men's side redone, women's side going to happen in January, facility management plan put in place, new benches throughout town, JMF scoreboard, elbow design, Burma trail railing, art installation. Fire department, new search and rescue vehicle, new engine, as Chief mentioned, is here in California, will be here shortly. They've received grants for Jaws of Life. They've had 2 longtime employees retire, 2 new ones being brought on board. You know, finance has integrated their new budgeting software. They spent a lot of time in 2025 going through the short-term rental history in the city, getting that organized. Harbor, all the 22 pilings installed. Club Dinghy Dock project, fuel dock upgrades, radio upgrades, security cameras installed, joint training with Baywatch, Barbara Pearson dock is new, electric boat is here. They've had promotions and staffing there.
And the blue truck.
And the blue truck, right. The code in City Hall, code 3,000 parking tickets, 2,300 vehicle permits issued this year, 300 reports written by code. 30 vehicle tows, and I think they were in the 50s as far as the vehicles taken off the island altogether. We've received $3.1 million in new grant funding in 2025 alone. Five Corners obviously has started and well under construction. Olin's Cube, Hungry App, 141 building permits issued. Most of those came after July 1st because the building really started picking up at that point. Coast, 73,200 passengers. Last year, 66,880 gallons of gas saved through that program. All the things that Dave Hart mentioned with community services, return of Haunted Hall, the new tech center, their senior meals they've been doing. They've doubled the food bank, expanded that, serving twice as many families. I mean, it's incredible the amount of, you know, and we've had a number of staff that, you know, we've had to fill in whether or not, you know, because we've had some people off for periods of time this year. So everybody has done an outstanding job. Can't thank them all enough. So, you know, we talked about it last Friday. Appreciate all council support. They appreciate council support. Oh yeah, all new MOUs for everybody. Forgot that. That only took 4 months. everything, 2025 is coming to an end, and as Bob says, probably 2026 is going to be a little busier, so hang on.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for sharing that as well. Okay.
Oh, I just had a question. Speaking of leases and the casino bathrooms, is the fuel dock, is the fuel guy, are they under a lease with us, and is that going to be renewed? And where I'm going with this is the Casino Dock Cafe. Are we is it going to open up for somebody else to do that since they're not?
Right, two things there, great point. Two things, so there's two agreements out there. One's a lease for the operation of the fuel dock. That's ongoing. The other one is the lease to operate a restaurant on that space. We really want that to happen. We've been trying to do some matchmaking with the fuel dock operator, Dion & Sons, who has the lease for the restaurant, and a local restaurant operator that we feel would be a great match. We've been trying to get them together, and we're hopeful that this year we're going to see something out there. Yes, absolutely. We'd love to make that happen.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Come on, 26.
Yeah.
So the shower that's going to be out there, that'll be a freshwater shower?
Yes.
Will it be like they put money in, or no?
It's going to be on a limited, you'll have to hold the chain down, you let it go, it turns off. So it's not going to be, just running. It's going to be just a limited, really, to assist the divers to hose off, get out of their, wetsuit and get a freshwater rinse.
And all of the other ones that are already out there, all of those wetsuits, those aren't to be washed on that, the ones that
No,
they wash inside?
those they put out there to dry. Those are theirs. That's not part of this. This is to serve the dive community, since we're really taking the porta potties away, because a lot of those folks will change in those porta potties, which isn't comfortable for them, obviously. So
who's going to be cleaning those restrooms?
Well, that's part of the fuel dock lease agreement for the operation of the fuel dock.
Okay, excellent. Okay. And is there a city attorney?
Yes, I'm here tonight. This will be the last meeting that we're operating under the old Brown Act rules. There are new rules effective January 1st. For the first 6 months, those rules only cover certain special meetings when council members need to attend remotely due to family issues or health issues. Starting July 1st, there's a lot of new rules with the Brown Act. We'll be doing a presentation to the council sometime in February or March on what those new rules will entail. But the big thing is we will have to be translating the agendas into Spanish and providing interpretation services available to residents that request them. So more coming later, but there'll be substantial changes really starting July 1st.
Great, thank you. Council member reports.
Can I go first?
Yes.
I just want to say happy birthday, Scott.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Michael.
And then I wanted to make some comments about the Avalon Club's Interact Club at Avalon Schools. The day after Thanksgiving, 17 kids went to Palm Springs. Their mission was to work at it's not a soup kitchen or anything like that. It's kind of like what we do with the food bank or Gaia Studio. They raised money to do this trip. They got up at 5:45 on Saturday morning to go and spend just an hour working in this building where they open the doors, and it's not homeless, it's people just not able to make ends meet. We actually went on Friday night to Vaughn's and bought all of the carrots and potatoes they had out, 3 basket loads. And we even were a little short on that. We could have used more. But to watch these kids interact with these people that came in off the street to get groceries and hygiene products, and it was amazing, to the point where at one point it was just really emotional. I had to go outside. But that they spoke to everybody, they worked with everybody, And it was one of the best hours I've ever spent with these kids. And just a shout out to the Interact kids that went. They did an amazing job. And I would like to commend their parents, because these kids would not be the way they are if their parents were not just as great. So I just wanted to, to make that shout out, because there are times here in this town when there are some parents who just don't really care, but these parents and these kids were just amazing. So.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay.
I don't have much, but I did want to say that I did go to the Friendsgiving event. And I know a lot of you guys worked it and stuff, but I went as a participant. It was so fun. It was great. It was cold, but they had heaters out there and stuff. And if you were lucky enough to get near one, my granddaughter loved going over and petting the horses and stuff. It was a very well organized event and delicious. And just wanted to say thank you for doing that. It'd be a great tradition to carry forward.
So, participated in the Mount Ada open house. Interact was great. I actually got to do the front door with a number of the Interact students. They were phenomenal. And was really excited about especially the tech center funding for that to come through was amazing. Attended a meeting with the mayor, with Love Catalina, to help improve relations between our two teams and just keep an open line of communication. And then attended the Gateway City's COG meeting that evening in the city of Downey for our annual holiday dinner, and did not reach a quorum. So ended up having to have, went over for it, didn't reach a quorum. Everybody else needs to show up. If I can, you can.
My frustration when
If I can show up, you all can show up. So then I sit on the executive committee for that board, so we ended up having a secondary meeting on December 10th for that, and had that here in council chambers. So thank you, city staff, for making that available for me to meet here all by my lonesome in the evening. It was great. And then attended Shop Catalina, which was fantastic. And if anyone has any children watching with them for this moment, please take them away from the room. I'll give you a second. We were fortunate enough to have Santa helpers, 3 of them, when I was growing up in this community, and saw so much negative reaction to having a bonus Santa helper this year, and was a little surprised by it. So Avalon, you're still a Santa short from being amazing. So I would say if there's any other Santa helpers that want to get out there, put on the suit, go for it. It's better to have more joy than less. Yeah, anyway. I was really thankful for the Shop Catalina event, for all of the carolers, for all of the performers. They were so great up there, and especially with it being so cold, they did great. The one request I do have is next year, if we can please consider turning the fountain off while the little voices are singing, because we could not hear them from that side of the stage. That would be awesome.
They need microphones.
They do need microphones, yes. Microphones would be good for them. And to that point, and to the great quick thinking of city staff for running different extension cords across the stage, we really need to look at a plan for the electrical on the stage, please. We've been receiving, in my private work life, more requests for groups that want to come and perform, and we talked with Dave a little bit about it already, but I would love to see that be a modern, updated facility for use that does not require a ton of extension cords, that has plugs in various locations, that can be both equally clean and safe, and isn't a fire hazard to run extension cords for tripping across the stage. So that would be great. And then Wednesday, December 11th, went to the beautiful city of Pico Rivera and got to visit the Albert Robles Center for Water Recycling and Engagement. I want it. I want that facility here. This facility is a water recycling plant that has a 3 million gallon tank underneath a butterfly garden, and the entire facility is run off of solar. It's a platinum LEED building. It's pretty, Bob. It's like, oh, I don't know if you've been there yet, but we need to go. Like, we need to have a day. They will do a private, like a tour for the city to go see this place. It's operated by PERC, which I didn't realize until I left the building and then got even more excited. So they're putting out 14.8 million gallons of fresh water from tertiary treated water sources, meaning they're taking sewer water treated, that's been treated 3 times, and then running it through their plant to be able to provide both fresh drinking water and water to recharge groundwater facilities. And so they're able to do over 10,000 acre feet of water a year, which I was like, we don't even need that much.
Oh, yes, we do.
Right? It was pretty. And the size of the facility for what they're putting out was so much smaller than I figured it would be. I'm like, cool. Even if we had like a quarter, it's smaller than what if you look at the dump location, for example, the size of the MRF and the parking lot next to it would be about the size of what that facility is for the treatment portion. It is not massive. It is well made. It is like well run. Like I was geeking out like crazy. So got to drink some of what they called the poop water. It was delicious. Had no aftertaste. I dare all of you. We're going to go do it. It's going to be great.
You've been to one before that, and drank it. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
It should be a co-trip with the city and Edison.
Yes, it should be. I agree.
That's
I'm down
exciting.
to
That's very
2026,
cool.
baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
I did tell the city manager and assistant city manager that we might have to win the lotto to make it happen. So.
Did you buy your ticket?
Get out those scratchers. Yeah. Right? This could be the one. $1 billion, I could do whatever I want.
About 600 mil.
Yeah. No big deal. Yeah. Easy. Psh, you guys could do it. So anyway, it was amazing. I geeked out. They also do offer field trips. You do not have to be in LA Unified to be able to go to a field trip out there. I would love for our kids to see that place. The other part of it, for the museum, the conservancy, the school, all of the interactive, they had a whole basically museum for this place to have like a learning center. You go into the space and almost everything is touchscreen interactive and has the ability to change languages of the entire room with the touch of a button.
Wow.
I also geeked out at that. So anyway, and then attended and helped volunteer at the Friendsgiving on November 20th. It was so cool, was so much fun. Got to talk with a lot of people about the Hungry app. Jocelyn and I got to connect with a couple of people from the camps down the coast about the Hungry app, and so that's very exciting. The only thing I would ask, because I manage the coffee station for the evening, is if it's possible to also get hot chocolate next year. If we can either have our own or have hot chocolate packets even for the hot water, that would be great. And then attended the City Hall Christmas party. It was phenomenal. Thank you, city staff, for putting that together. Thank you, Blue Water, for hosting. It was fun and enjoyable and nice to get to recognize how much work this was great, how much work we know day in and day out how much you guys are doing, but it was awesome to see that. And then last but not least, well, no, 2 things, sorry. One, happy 70th to Michael. Happy birthday to Scott. Way to do it. Be proud of that number.
Yes.
Be proud of that number, buddy.
I'm proud of 7.
When did you do that?
Yesterday.
Oh,
Yep.
my
Happy birthday.
goodness. Oh.
And then last but not least, sorry, it's getting done with me. I am wordy, as I said. I am going to Sacramento on Thursday for the vote for the broadband. We are on the agenda. We made it on the agenda. It is not on the consent calendar, which is why I'm going. I know I was really hoping it would be on consent, but they did publish the holds yesterday from the meeting, and we were not amongst the holds, which is a great sign. So I'm encouraged. I'm hopeful. Hopefully next council meeting, I'll have some really fun news to report back. Yeah.
Yeah, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's been busy with just joy and food and fun all the way around, so thank everybody. But I have 2 questions. Well, first of all, I was telling the city manager that my house has been egged twice in the last week, 1 egg at a time. So it's not like it's a dozen eggs. And then I ran into Tony Zeiler. Somebody's been egging his house as well. So I don't know, maybe nighttime patrols might be helpful with that. I would like to think of somebody who just doesn't like me, that they would be willing to just talk to me, because I'm pretty easy to talk to. But anyway, so that's that. So with the vacation rentals, the people who are heading those up or who on the list are supposed to be taking the people to the doors and opening their doors and not just giving them the codes, correct?
When does that start?
They're supposed to meet them on island. So it could take place, it has to be here. There has to be a meeting of the visitors when they get here. Not necessarily take them to the door. For example, if you're CIVR and you have an office, you have the people come there, you can see there's 6 people or there's 26 people. So
Yeah, well, maybe.
that meeting has to take place. It doesn't necessarily have to take place on the doorstep.
All right, thank you.
And Annie, on that,
Yes.
because at my 2, they come and see me before I send them.
Send them over, yeah, okay. And then,
How are we policing? How are we making sure that's happening to the ones that aren't CIVR or a business?
Yeah, then their on-site manager would meet them at the property.
Right.
But
How are we making sure that that's happening?
Well, I mean, we're mandating it, and if we have reason or have information, just like a lot of these, if we get reports that it did not happen,
Okay.
then we are following up.
Okay, so the community can keep their eyes open and let you know that.
Yeah, we've
It's not
already,
happening.
we received a number of contacts from neighbors that say people just walked up or, and then we look and see if it's a CIVR property or somewhere else and verify. So
Okay.
we've done that at the end of the summer when we started really putting this in place.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just, sorry, one other thing I forgot about the Mount Ada. Just wanted to say thank you to the city and to Circuit for hosting so many people on Circuit for transportation to and from. It was really beneficial to have that. I also did get some people who voiced concern about not being able to utilize it properly or know how to use it. I'm wondering if we can have the Community Services Department possibly host a training day or have like a fixer day at some point in the new year, just to help people who are not as comfortable with that program learning how to use it on their phone. I'm happy to volunteer with that too. So,
sure.
But yeah, just wanted to say thanks.
and Matt King, I don't mean to put you on, I have a question about the homeless. We have a number of homeless, and I know some of them are being told, you can't go to private property and sleep on private property. But my question is, they do need a place to sleep. And I was talking to Dave Hart, and the only reason I'm asking you now is because I wanted to be able to contact a couple of these people that don't really have a place to sleep. And am I correct in assuming that they could sleep between the police department and the library?
No, that's not a place to sleep. You can't sleep there. There's no loitering in that area. If you're not having any reason to be there, that's not an area to sleep. We are working right now with the host team to come over to the island in the next couple of weeks to try to get some solutions for what to do with some of the homeless. But no, that's not an area that's an open campground to sleep in.
Well, some of these people don't have any money, and the weather is really cold, and it's supposed to rain around Christmas, and I don't know what we can do, and it's very disturbing to me that there are some very nice young people that are kind of down on their luck, and so if they sleep in Veterans Park, is that okay? If they sleep, where can they sleep? They can't sleep on private
There's no
property.
place legally you can sleep out in a camp, in a tent in the city of Avalon.
I'm not even saying a tent. They might have a sleeping bag, they might have a blanket. What can we
Is
do?
it possible to look at the camping cabins at the campground and get them for the night or the week or something like that, to have a space that's at least covered in warm-ish, warmer?
Perhaps we do have, do we have
We have
some
some
money
funds.
in, we do have some money, so maybe that would be an answer to be able to put them up there. I know one of the gentlemen needs a sleeping bag desperately because all their stuff was taken.
One of the things I was going to ask if we could do was to connect with a company in San Diego called the Lucky Duck Foundation. I don't know if you guys have heard of them before, but they're funded primarily by the Sadler family, who was the Padres ownership family. But they provide It's a jacket that modifies into a sleeping bag, so it provides warmth during the day and a place to sleep at night. And they provide services. I don't know what their funding source looks like or if they have additional funding, but it may be something where if we can connect people with that type of product, and then provide additional assistance during particularly cold nights at the campground even, at least it's an indoor space. They're out of the chill, they're out of the cold.
Yeah. It's just very
It is.
It's
It's
very
very
disturbing.
disheartening,
Okay, well, I got the answer.
We're not going to throw them in jail, obviously,
Well, but you're going to tell them to get up and move, and
yeah,
then
but they're not going to be able to just lay there and sleep. Unfortunately, it's just it's if we allow one person to do it, basically violate the rules of the city.
So then we just have them walking all night? Pretty
no,
much?
I mean,
Our part is we don't
you would
have a
hope that
shelter.
they would have some type of family in town,
Right.
or maybe reach out to the church, or it's tough. I completely agree with you, and we do
Yeah.
feed people that come to the station that are hungry.
Yeah.
We take the food that we have basically for in custodies, people that are and we give them food, but we don't allow them to sleep in the front there. I mean, we share the area with the library and the court and ourselves, and it's also in the city. And to be honest with you, we really don't want to become a local area to sleep. I don't think it's a good sign for us to do that to the city. I don't want to have the county area being the new campground for everybody. I'd rather reach out to try to get some resources over here and see if we can help them to get them whatever we can do for them.
Because we're so far behind the 8 ball, which is disturbing. I
Yeah.
have another question. Are those bathrooms locked?
We locked them at night, yeah. They were being vandalized quite a bit for a long time, and we were trying to keep them open as much as we can, but the vandalism just got worse and worse, and things were getting broken, and it's very difficult to get someone from over town to come fix it on a regular basis. So we are closing at night because we don't have someone that can be out there watching them and watching what people are doing inside. It's an extremely difficult situation, and we're in the same boat you are as far as trying to figure out some kind of resolution. All I can say is maybe we should have some kind of a community forum to kind of talk about this and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Well, if you said you're going to be meeting with some people, and then if you're meeting, these two definitely need to coordinate. Yeah.
they have
Okay.
been, yeah.
Dave Hart's already started that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that conversation.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Not trying to put you on the spot, it's just,
I totally understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel bad saying what I'm saying. I'm not going to give you false hope. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honestly with what it is. So,
thank you, Matt. Okay. All right.
Jail's not full, maybe they could sleep in there.
Presentations. Southern California Edison.
So is Tracy online, do we think?
I am here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Oh dear, well, I'm a Southern California Edison employee, so I guess I have to leave the room.
Propane and safety, so you can't learn about public awareness and safety.
I know, it's just public awareness, but I couldn't stay for a fire truck either, so there you go.
So now I'm just waiting for the presentation. You guys should have that on your end.
Yes.
We've got it.
No, I
Thank you.
saw it earlier. Okay, perfect. All right, so good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Tracy Degnan. I'm from Southern California Edison, and I'm here tonight to present our SCE's annual gas safety presentation. Okay, next slide. So most of you know that here on Catalina, SCE not only delivers electricity, but we also provide the water and gas utilities as well. So tonight I wanted to talk about a few gas safety tips and reminders. Okay, next slide. So on Catalina, we deliver a propane air mixture that is designed to mimic natural gas. It is delivered on a pipeline system that is installed, tested, operated, and maintained according to the strict standards and guidelines used by SCE and required by local, state, and federal agencies. SCE conducts routine patrols, visual ground inspections, and has cathodic protection installed to prevent rusting and corrosion. And because of these things, system failures on the gas system are really rare. Okay, next slide. So the propane gas system consists of two pipelines. We have mains and service lines. The mains are the larger pipelines that carry the propane from the plant out to the service areas. In some areas, like along Pebbly Beach Road, you may see marked signs that have our general location and contact information to identify where some of these mains are. Service lines are the pipelines that run underground from the mains to the meters at your homes and businesses. Okay, next slide. Because most of our gas pipeline is underground, it's very important that you call Dig Alert prior to conducting any digging activities. This includes projects on your property. If you're planning to start a project, you must call 811 2 full working days before beginning to excavate, and allow SCE personnel to come out and mark the pipeline route for you. It is also very important to know where your pipeline route runs through your property so you could avoid building any structures over the top or planting any trees. Excavation must be done with hand tools until the gas line is found. If you accidentally hit a pipeline, please call SE immediately at 800-367-8851 so they can come and inspect the pipeline for any damage. And that number is specific to Catalina, so the operators answering that line are well-versed in that we have gas. Sometimes people call Edison, and if you call just the number on your bill, they may not even realize that we have gas here. So just make sure that you are calling that 800 number. Okay, next slide. So this slide shows where SCE responsibilities end and the customer responsibilities begin. So any piping from the gas meter to the residence or the business is the responsibility of the customer. It is important to have your piping inspected periodically for corrosion or leaks and make repairs if any unsafe conditions are discovered. Next slide. It's also really important to test your gas appliances regularly, and with our cooler temperatures starting, now is a good time to check furnaces and other gas appliances when you're turning them on for the winter. We have a lot of local plumbers who could assist in inspecting and making repairs if needed. And again, pipeline routes and meters must be kept clear of any structures or other obstructions. Okay, next slide. So how to recognize a propane gas leak. Propane is an odorless and colorless gas. So we add a chemical odorant called mercaptan, and it's added to help people identify gas leaks. Some say it smells like rotten eggs or sulfur. Other ways you may be able to detect a gas leak is by maybe a white cloud, or you may hear some hissing noise. Sometimes there'll be a frozen area if like the pipe is on the ground. You may see bubbling if it's underwater. If you have flames coming from the pipe, that might be an indication that you have a leak happening. Propane is different than gas. It's heavier than air, so it tends to settle in lower levels of buildings. So when you smell gas, it may be more closer to the ground, unlike natural gas where you may smell it just filling the room. Next slide. If you suspect a leak, it's important to just get out of the area immediately and warn others to stay away. Do not open the doors or windows, just get to a safe location. If you're already outside, move into the wind and away from the gas. It's important to eliminate ignition sources such as phones, lighters, motors, electrical switches, and do not try to turn off any equipment. Just get out of the area as quickly as you can. Next slide. And then once you are in a safe place, call 911 first. And then we ask that you please call SCE and try to provide a description of the leak and its location if possible. Okay, next slide. If you have any questions, please call SCE Catalina Island service number, that 800 number, which is specific to Catalina Island. It's 800-367-8851, or you could also visit sce.com/Catalina. And again, that'll take you to Catalina specific items for Southern California Edison. And that is all I have. So if you have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And oral communication, this is an opportunity To address the council on issues that are not on the agenda, you will be limited to 2 minutes and no action will be taken.
Hello there, Paul Birchall, Avalon Library. Just a super quick, got some lovely holiday stuff coming up at the library. Coming up on Friday, we're going to have a visit from an artist, Claudia Hindu, who's going to be leading a sort of holiday sculpture class. We're going to be making clay candy canes. I think it's going to be fun. I hope you guys will come and join us. On Saturday, I'm going to do a create your own gingerbread house construction day. That's going to be at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow night, if anybody comes, I'm going to rig a movie screen in our little projector, and we're going to show Doctor Who and the Daleks, which is actually on Canopy, which is the library's sort of Netflixy film service, and we can show it in, without a royalty because it's a public performance rights thing. And I always wanted to show Doctor Who, so we're going to show a Doctor Who movie. It's one of the old ones with Peter Cushing, not a real Doctor Who movie, but whatever. It's still fun. Smarty Pants Story Time, Saturdays at 11. I've got a new bunch of Storytime books that just arrived through the mail. I'm going to try them out this weekend. Let's see. I believe we're closed Wednesday and Thursday of next week for the holiday. We will see you Friday and Saturday. Let's see. Coming up at the end of the month, we will have our afternoon New Year's Eve party for those of us who don't want to stay up till late. I'm going to play a little tape of the countdown, and we'll have Martinelli's and a little craft and masks and things. Should be fun. Yeah, in January, it's going to probably be a little lighter than sometimes because it's deep in the holiday, deep in the winter. Going to do teen New Year's vision buttons for resolutions in early January, an ice cream reading circle on January 22nd. I'm going to try and show an anime movie called The Last Unicorn, another Canopy movie, on the 14th. Talks with Chuck Liddell on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month. And thank you. Please come and visit your library. I'm also toying with an idea of doing a classic children's book club. I was just looking over some donations we got at the library, and it's like there were some really great books in the 60s and 70s, like by Sid Fleischman and authors who are now kind of forgotten. And I would love to start just introducing those to kids. I'm not sure they even read those at the school. It's all Captain Underpants. So I'm going to try that in January, see what happens. Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Paul,
Come to the library.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you picked the winners for the
I have, but I'm not ready to.
Oh, okay.
Not ready yet. I've got to make copies, and I got to alert the winners. But thank you for participating in the judging. Also, thank my friends of the library group. They also participated in the judging. We had 4 clear winners, so I'm very pleased with that.
Cool.
I just haven't. I'm not ready to announce quite yet.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, guys.
I don't believe there's anybody else. Okay, consent calendar, please.
Consent calendar, item number 1, approval of the minutes from November 18th, 2025, regular city council meeting. Item 2, approval of disbursements for November 10th, 2025 through December 5th, 2025, totaling $3,735,878.82. Item 3, adopt a resolution approving and adopting an organizational conflict of interest policy covering design build projects. Item 4, adopt a resolution approving and accepting the State of California General Fund grant funds for the Green Pleasure Pier Deck Replacement Project. Item 5, authorize the city manager or his designee to develop and solicit a request for bids from qualified contractors for the Green Pleasure Pier Deck Replacement Project. Item 6, receive and file the fiscal year 24-25 Development Impact Fee Annual Report. Item 7 will be considered under the consent calendar. Council acting as a housing authority and successor agency for ACIA. Adopt a resolution approving a housing authority successor agency annual report for fiscal year 24-25. And then item 8, also council On the consent calendar, council acting as a successor agency for ACIA, adopt a resolution of the successor agency for the Avalon Community Improvement Agency approving a recognized obligation payment schedule 26-27 and successor agency administrative budget for fiscal year 26-27.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Do you need to have 7 and 8 separate, or can we do them all together?
My understanding is as long as I designated them of what you're acting, then we can do them all together.
Okay, so I'll move to approve items 2 through 8 on consent.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, call for the vote.
Not me.
Mayor Marshall?
It's not showing up. Oh, thanks.
God, it wasn't me this time.
4 ayes, 1 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa.
Item number 9.
Item number 9, we have a public hearing for the fiscal year 2025-2026 miscellaneous fee schedule update.
I'll open the public hearing. Comments? No. Matt, did you want to speak to anything?
Just real quick, what the fee schedule update is for an annual renewal fee for short-term vacation rentals. The goal of the fee is to recoup the costs for the city related to monitoring and enforcement. The idea of having a fee was discussed multiple times when we've been having the short-term rental ordinance updates, as well as in that meeting. We said we would come back with a proposal for a fee amount. Again, this fee is just really looking to recoup the costs to the city for the monitoring and enforcement. So it includes a portion of finances time that monitors rental activity on websites, code enforcement's time for enforcing the new regulations, planning's time for their role in the revocation process, as well as a portion of our contracted planning services and our software costs with host compliance, which provides the monitoring software as well as the 24-hour hotline. So when we take all those costs and divide them by the number of licensed rentals, it came up to a little over $250. So I rounded down to $250, and that's how we came up with that fee number. So this fee, if adopted, is going to be included with the business license for annual renewal, and it will apply to all vacation rentals, regardless of whether you're a conditional use permit, a grandfathered, or a transient rental license. But it will not apply to the banked units, as the 24-hour hotline, the enforcement side, the monitoring doesn't really apply to those. So it won't apply to those, but for the others it would.
Public comment? Close the public hearing. I do. Oh, this is my little silly question. Do you need to copy all of this just for one item? It's a lot of paper for one item.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only change in there, but adopting that fee schedule with that change, yeah.
Because it is part of the whole fee schedule.
All I know, it's just a lot of paper. Okay. Okay. Is there consensus? If so, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the updated fee schedule as proposed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Four ayes, 1 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa.
Public hearing, item number 10, revocation of business licenses. This is, item 10 applies to Omeo Suites, Catalina Island. Again, Matt, you might as well just stay out here for the next couple as I see it.
I'll open the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Okay. Is there any public comment? Okay, let's close the public hearing. And go ahead, Matt.
So the Omeo Suites, Catalina Island is DBA Casa Mariquita. The owner on file with the city with the business license applied for his license in 22. And from 22 until March or until April of 24, paid his monthly tax and reporting timely. Beginning with April of 24, the city stopped receiving the monthly transient tax reports as well as any related tax remittances. We sent a certified letter to the owner in August of 24 and in November of 24. Since then, we have been getting since the November letter, we've been getting the letter sent back as the address on file with the business license is no longer associated with the individual. In September, though, of this year, after making informal attempts to reach out, an individual representing that he's a representative of the Omeo Suites Catalina Island reached out to ask what he needed to do to get into compliance. We exchanged emails, but ultimately no action was taken to resolve the matter for this hotel. So we sent a letter. So this is the first time we've done this, probably in a while for the city, but to revoke a business license ultimately takes direction from council. Generally, if a business goes out of business, I will close a business license. But given the nature of this one, it didn't feel appropriate to close the business license, but rather to go through the revocation process. So on December 2nd, we sent out a letter, again via certified mail, with the only address we have on file, and that was the address from the business license application. We did not get a response from the individual. We also had code enforcement deliver a letter to the physical location, and I sent an email to the emails that had previously contacted finance with a copy of the letter that was sent notifying of this hearing, as well as the tax that are outstanding. So in that letter, I did make an estimate of what I believe the outstanding tax amount is. That estimate was based on historical tax payments from the property over a comparable period of time. Again, we haven't received any response, and I don't believe anyone is in attendance. But we did send out a certified letter, delivered a letter to the physical address, and sent an email to the contact we had.
And we know that nobody's even unlocking the door and going in and checking the office?
From what code and other departments within the city have indicated, there may be people living at the property on a year-round basis. We've had individuals come to the vehicle official requesting a vehicle with that address. They've been denied as it's not a residential property. And when code was on site, there was not anyone at the desk to deliver the letter to, but the doors were open and they were able to enter the premise.
So if we revoke the license, do we lock the doors? Or how does that work?
I don't. We don't. I don't believe that's the next step. I think this is the next step for us, is then working with legal to address the outstanding tax matter. And then if we do find out that somebody is operating there, to let them know that they do not have a license to operate and that they would have to come to City Hall and address a number of outstanding items in order to be able to operate.
We would go through a cease and desist process, but we, the city, would not physically lock the doors, but we would go through a process to get there or get them in compliance.
Okay. Because these are the same guys that tried to sell those as condos, right?
Right, I believe so, yeah. Okay. Well, is there a consensus or motion to revoke the business license?
I'll make a motion to revoke the business licenses for seats for OMEO Suites Catalina Island, business license number 011090.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
All ayes, one absent. Councilmember De La Rosa.
Item number 11.
Item number 11 is a request for revocation of a business license. This is for OMEO Hotel Catalina.
Matt?
Before opening the public hearing, I'll give a similar background. In 2022, a business license was applied for. It's the same owner or the same name as the prior business we discussed. The business operated and paid taxes and filed reports timely from opening the license through March of 2024. In April of 2024, the city stopped receiving the tax remittance and the monthly reporting. We sent out certified letters in August and November of 24 without a response. The address on file with the license was the same as the prior location or the prior business, and we did not receive any response to those two letters. The slight change with this one is in June of 25, a new operator applied for a business license at the location. As part of our business license review process, we felt an inspection by the fire department and building official were required. The new operator indicated that they were separate and unrelated to the existing license holder. The building inspection by fire and the building official did not occur. I'm not certain exactly as to why it didn't occur, but there's no inspection in June, and so the finance department did not issue a business license. It's our understanding that the hotel was operating from June to December. In November, we brought the hotel Catalina to council for revocation under the prior operator, Omeo Hotel Catalina. We sent a letter on December 2nd via certified mail, as well as we delivered a letter to the location, and an individual representing the new operator came to City Hall. We explained that they needed to cease and desist operations immediately until they could get their business license approved. We explained that an inspection from the building official and fire department was the next step in that application process, and that they still needed to report and remit taxes for that period. That operator has remitted those taxes and has allowed an inspection to occur, and they are working their way through the business license application process. But this hearing is for the prior operator for the period through May of 25, prior to the new operations. We are working with the new operator. They do not have a business license, so they should not be operating. Based on review online, it looks like after they came to City Hall and we had our conversation, they are no longer operating. So it looks like they are cooperating with the city, and we hope to work with them to get through the application process. But the revocation is for the prior operator who appears to have been operating through May of 25.
And I'm curious, I believe that facility has little units on the side where people live,
It does.
and that doesn't affect them at all? Or is that part of the whole thing?
I think they rent those rooms. I don't think people live there. Mona lives there full-time year-round, but she had an agreement with Tusi when he owned it. But as far as I know, Mona's the only one that lives there full-time year-round, and because I live right up the street from there.
Right.
So I know that they do rent out those little cottages. That's part of the hotel.
Right, okay.
The only piece I can speak to is the building official did inspect those as part of their review that took place last week. I couldn't speak to the condition, but that was part of their review.
Okay, if there's no questions, Matt, we're going to open the public hearing. Any comments? Close the public hearing. Council?
I'll move to revoke the business license for Omeo Hotel Catalina, business license number 011107.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, call for the vote. Okay.
4 ayes, 1 absent, Councilmember De La Rosa.
Okay. Number 12, thank you, Matt.
Matt, I think you got this one too.
Oh, yeah, come back.
Go for it. So item 12, general business. This is general business, city council acting as housing authority and successor agency to the ACIA multi-year renewal agreement with RSG Inc. through fiscal year 28-29 for successor agency and housing authority consulting services.
I just wanted to add that since we are going through an exception to the competitive bid process, that RSG has been an extremely valuable resource to me and I think to everyone at the city. Department heads change, people change, but RSG's been there with the city through the redevelopment process from 2012 to today. And I definitely rely on their historical knowledge of the city and their expertise when it comes to all things successor agency and housing authority. And I can't thank them enough for their hard work and keeping me on track with all the deadlines. So,
Great. The council?
I'll move to make an affirmative finding to dispense with a competitive procurement process due to economic efficiency as outlined in Avalon Municipal Code 3-4.111C, and authorize the city manager, agency director to enter into a 3-year contract with RSG Inc. to provide successor agency consulting services through fiscal year 28-29 in an amount not to exceed $25,000 per year, $75,000 over the length of the contract, and authorize the city manager and agency director to enter into a 3-year contract with RSG Inc. to provide housing authority consulting services through fiscal year 28-29 in an amount not to exceed $10,000 per year, $30,000 over the length of the contract.
I'll second.
And second, call for the vote.
4 ayes, 1 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa.
Item number 13.
Item number 13 is a request to enter into a preferential access agreement with Carnival Cruise Lines. As council recalls, I mean, for the better part of this entire year, we've been working towards entering specific long-term agreements with our cruise ship partners. Specifically in July of this year, July 15th, before council, we presented really the main 3 cruise lines that call on Avalon. We asked them to submit terms on a term sheet. We began negotiations. As a result of that process, we've entered already, council has approved a preferential access agreement with one cruise line, that being Disney. Since July and even before that, we've been having conversations with Carnival Cruise Line, who's been calling on Avalon for quite some time. We have a good relationship with them. Leon Sutcliffe is a great advocate for them, has been extremely open and flexible with the city as we've gone through this process. As a result of those negotiations, we have what's before you, which is preferential access agreement, which we recommend. The key terms in this agreement are that it's a 5-year agreement with 2 additional 5-year renewal options, joint options between the cruise line and the city. This access would give Carnival Wednesdays exclusively year-round. As a result of this exclusivity, they've agreed to pay a passenger service charge in the amount of $1.50 when this commences, which this will begin October 1st, 2027. At that time in October, if you recall, council, on January 1st this coming year, a couple weeks, the wharfage will go from the current $5 per manifest passenger to $7.50. So Carnival will, beginning in October of 2027, pay $9 per passenger under this agreement. They've also agreed to limit under this agreement on those Wednesday visits that it will be no more than the Sunshine class of vessel. That's their vessel that's approximately 3,000 passengers that we have. The Firenze and the larger ships will not be coming to Avalon under this agreement. Carnival has also, we had lengthy discussions regarding where Carnival can meet the city's needs and what we're trying to get regarding, passenger code of conduct, and what Carnival is, or they've come back with is incorporating a guest code of conduct, which will be part of this agreement that they'll have, advising their passengers while they're here what the expectations are, the city's expectations, and what's, what we can work towards. And again, I want to say that I think, during this process, as we were negotiating to get here, Carnival announced that they were repositioning the Firenze. They're taking it to the East Coast or the Caribbean. So I think that is an extremely solid, good faith effort to show where they're going. We had some tremendous feedback from our business community regarding their dealing with Carnival, the Shore Excursion Partners. They spoke very highly of Carnival in general, Leon in particular. We appreciate that. Our position on this, as we looked at cruise ships and where we were at, and coming out of COVID in the years that followed, we were averaging between 110 and 120 cruise ships a year, and you'll see the annual cruise ship reports coming up next. So our goal was really to try to put the brakes on what we were seeing in the industry, which is the larger cruise ships visiting here. It just was not a good fit for the city. We're thrilled that we're able to reach this negotiation with Carnival and the prior negotiation with Disney to come to a place where with these two agreements, if council approves it, from September to May, that'll be the 3 cruise ships a week. 2 Disneys on Tuesday and Saturday, Carnival on Wednesday. That takes that period of time, and then there's 2 Tuesdays and Wednesdays from May to September, basically in our peak season. In an ideal world, that's where we'll be. We do, nothing changes as far as the resolution, the ordinance that council has already passed, capping it at 3 per week. But I really think this puts us in a position to have potentially fewer cruise ships in the 90 to 100 range, but make more money off those cruise ships by having this agreement in place. So again, thank you to Carnival for being so flexible, and Leanne in particular for being willing to have these discussions. I appreciate the input. We had a lot of input from Love Catalina, business community. They got the information out. And I think this puts us in a position for the next 5+ years to really control the cruise ships and the size that are coming here, and do it in a way that's financially beneficial to the city. So, any questions?
So this is just for the Carnival contract. We're not talking about the how many cruise ships per week and all that kind of stuff. That's on a different thing, or is this?
That hasn't changed.
But can it change?
Oh, it can. Yeah, we review it annually.
Right, but this is not the meeting for that?
No, this is just whether or not
Carnival can have this contract? Okay.
Right.
Okay, because, yeah, I'd like to revisit that, and I'd also like to look at who does the scheduling, because I made my little spreadsheet again, and I was like, damn, look at how many days in a row. So anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So the guest code of conduct, though, Royal Caribbean should have it as well, right? Everybody can bring people on their ships that aren't perfect.
Sure.
So it seems like that would just be something, yeah, because everybody can go to Vaughn's and buy alcohol. They don't have to just come off Carnival.
Well, it's more than that. It's, whether or not Carnival will allow passengers to get off the ship with wireless speakers or boom boxes, for example. They've agreed they can say, no, that's not allowed on the city. So they've agreed, to do some of those things, which we have talked to them about. So that's where we're going with this. Yeah, we understand that there's going to be passengers. They're on vacation. They're going to act up on occasion. Yeah.
And I think that's actually it's a cruise. Their whole company, I think, is switching to that transition for the guest code of conduct. They were testing it out because it became such an issue in multiple ports. But it has to do both with clothing, with noise volumes and language and that type of thing too. So, yeah.
They can't come wearing a Mickey Mouse outfit, right?
Nope, definitely not.
Okay.
That's the first line in the code of conduct.
Okay. Council?
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a preferential access agreement with CCL Cruise Line Carnival.
Second.
We just call for the vote.
4 ayes, 1 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa.
Okay. Item number 4. You've really crammed a lot in for the last of the end of the year.
We
Thank
only
you.
had one meeting, if you remember.
we only had
one meeting.
So this is good. This is great.
That's why Lisa had all those things to talk about.
So many things.
So item 14 is the cruise ship annual report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. So this is part of, the requirement to bring this on an annual basis. Matt has laid out in a very easy to follow format, the number of visits that we've had, where it stands in past years, and where we're at. So I don't know, Matt, if you wanted to run through this, or you want me to do it?
Happy to run through it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. See, I think you need to be at the control center, Michael. Thank you.
Good evening again, Council. So as part of our annual cruise ship policy, one of the points of it was that we would report out to Council on an annual basis a number of items, and one of them being the amount of arriving passengers for the current year or the year that finished, the number that are scheduled for the next year, as well as any security incidents or concerns to discuss. Again, the main bullet points that outlined were the number of cruise ships that are allowed and per week, which is 3, but we can go over 3, subject to approval from the harbor master and the city manager. So the staff report kind of outlines what those parameters are for the cruise ships, and the next few slides is to satisfy the reporting out requirement to update on the number that arrived. So in fiscal 25, we actually had 110 cruise ships with 101 arrivals. It's actually our lowest non-COVID impacted cruise ship based on number of arrivals in the last 10 years. The reason it doesn't feel necessarily like it's the lowest is because in September of 24 and October of 24, we had, I believe, 4 in September of 24, or excuse me, August, we had 8, in September we had 4. And you'll see when I show what the 25 numbers were, there are quite a few more. But for fiscal 25, there were only 110 scheduled and 101 arrivals. The other piece that's changed, if you compare historically to last year, is the average number of passengers arriving. Prior to COVID, the average passenger count was in the 2,000 range, and you can see this year the average passenger count is around 3,500. During the summer months, occupancy rates exceeded 100%. So again, with occupancy rates, it's based on the assumption of 2 individuals in the room, in the cabin. But some ships can exceed 100% occupancy depending on how the guests make it up. You can see there's a wharfage revenue as well as the Measure H revenue. So for the year, cruise ship wharfage revenue was $1.6 million, and the Measure H revenue off of cruise ships, I believe that's either 687. All right. Yeah. Next slide. And if we could X out of the attendee list. So this shows the number of cruise ship arrivals over the last 10 years. The bar chart shows the number of arrivals, and the line graph shows the number of passengers. So you can really see that in the last 10 years, the number has fluctuated from anywhere between 101 and 117 arrivals per year. But really where the difference has been with the number of passengers. We were averaging closer to 2,500 passengers, but over the last 3 years, we've seen that increase to over 3,500 passengers per arriving vessel. Next slide. This next chart shows cruise ship wharfage revenues in the last 10 years. So beginning in 1617, or 10 years ago, our cruise ship wharfage per passenger was $2.50 per passenger. In 1617, we adopted a 5-year increase where we increased cruise ship wharfage rates by 50 cents per year. So that was beginning in 1617. You can see cruise ship, from a revenue standpoint, cruise ship wharfage hovered around 600,000. At that time, we also had a marketing incentive for if a cruise ship arrival brought a certain number of vessels, they would get a reduced amount. And so really we didn't see a lot of growth in the cruise ship wharfage. You can see the COVID impacted year, particularly fiscal year 2021, we had no cruise ships in town. And so the increase you see beginning in 22, but really in 22, 23 is the per passenger rate increased in fiscal 2021, even though we had no arrivals, to $5 per passenger, and has remained $5 per passenger since. But what's changed is the average passenger count on those ships has increased. The Royal Caribbean ship generally averages over 4,000 passengers, and then the Friends has the ability to have 5,000 passengers. I believe we've only crossed the 5,000 passenger maybe once, but typically on the Friends, we're getting close to that number. And the other piece on the chart is as a percentage of harbor revenues. So kind of prior to the rate increases, cruise ship wharfage made up 7-8% of our harbor operating revenues. But with the increase, cruise ship now makes up about 20% of our harbor's operating revenues. So cruise ship revenues really is what's accounted to most of our growth in harbor revenues. As our wharfage prior to September has remained the same rate, and our annual passenger counts and wharfage has hovered around the same amount over the last 7 years. Next slide. So this just shows the schedule for the current fiscal year 25-26. We have 124 scheduled arrivals. We have had one cancellation during the year that wasn't able to be rescheduled. So if every arrival happened between now and June 30th, that number would be 123. But we typically have a half dozen or so cancellations each year. Occupancy rates, you can see, are comparable to the prior year. But wharfage revenues are scheduled to increase to $750 per passenger beginning in January. And so whereas we were looking at $1.7 million in cruise ship wharfage for fiscal 25, we are now estimating for fiscal 26 $1 million more in cruise ship revenues. And you can also see if everyone arrives, our passenger count would be higher. And again, we are in fiscal 25-26, we have more of the larger vessels scheduled than even if you compare it to fiscal 24-25. And so, we at the city understood that, from direction from the public, those larger vessels present certain challenges. And so part of the motivation behind the port agreements was to find vessels that are a better fit for our community. And I believe that's the last slide, but if you want to go next slide. So that's the last slide. We didn't have any security incidents to report, but Kevin's here if you do have any questions regarding operations or harbor security.
So without the cruise ships, it costs us so much to operate the harbor. And I believe we feel that, I got a tinkle. Without that, without the cruise ships, they create more good than they do harm, I guess is what I'm asking. The money that we give, if we didn't have them, we would have a heck of a time supporting our harbor.
Yeah, the CIP down there, the infrastructure down there is extremely expensive, as we all know. But absolutely, I mean, whether or not they do more harm than good, that everybody might have different opinions on that. But from the standpoint, I think where we're going with what you've done tonight and what we did previously of having these agreements where we can have much more control of the size of the ship, I think it'll be significantly different in 2027.
I mean, I've been downtown the days just in this last week when there's no cruise ships and this place is dead. And these stores are having to keep their employees on just in case somebody walks in the door. It's terrible. So anyway.
And one of the things I often try to use is the Chamber did a study in 2016, 2017, because the other piece besides the money that comes to the city is the money that those passengers then spend in town. I know there's different debates of how much they spend, but I think everyone can agree it's not nothing. And so that's the other piece to it that I think you were touching on with the business community, is that the days they are here, they are also booking kayak tours that generate admissions tax. They are also, eating at the restaurants on the pier that, pay a percentage rent to the city. So there are compounding revenues beyond just the wharfage that they contribute to.
Exactly. Okay. Council? Does anybody want?
We just received it. Right?
Okay. It's received and filed.
Okay, and then last item is really, we just have closed session tonight, conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation. Initiation of litigation pursuant to section 54956.9C, one case.
We'll be back.
Because I don't need that. I'll take this and this.
Ready for a new one?
We're almost there.
Okay, we are back from closed session, and there is no reportable action. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone. See you in January.